Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 594, episode 600 coming up. Sunday? I will be live all weekend this coming weekend, where I was not live at all this past weekend. I feel I've got a deeper voice. I think I'm still recovering from the weekend. Woke up early for the card show Saturday, and then straight from the card show, I went to my best friend since, kindergarten. It was his 40th birthday in the far northwest suburbs. Uh, Ended up, we all hung out on the patio until midnight, which is way past my normal bedtime, and had a lot of Bud Lights on Saturday. So I was a little sluggish yesterday, and even this morning, still feeling it. So what is up? Hope you all had a good weekend. Like I said, I will be live all week this coming week. No shows this coming weekend. Let's see. We've got a full chat. Let's see. Let's start with Jenny. Let's just dive right into it. We'll dive right into card show talk. So Jenny says, asks how the show was this weekend and follows up with how was the soccer box sales? Looks like you found a lot in your pallets collections to fill the 3-row box. How many people took advantage of the fill a box versus just bought a stack of singles? So I was at the Northern Illinois Card Show this past Saturday in Rockford, Illinois. It's a show I've been doing since, May of last year. I think their first show was May of 2021. And then they switched locations to the current location, I think in July or maybe August of last year. So been doing it almost every month. I've missed a couple. I was actually going to miss yesterday's because of the party I was going to, but my wife ended up having to work all day. So I'm like, well, if you have to work, I'm just going to do the card show, make a few bucks, maybe try to buy some stuff. And it all worked out. So I'll tackle Jenny's first question. How was the soccer box sales? It's hit or miss. My soccer, there was a point in time a few months ago where I actually built that soccer box because I was having so much interest in soccer card sales. And it's kind of petered off here lately. The last couple months, the soccer box doesn't get much action. I sell some here and there. I still do have people look through it and people specifically looking for soccer. So it's definitely worth bringing, but I don't really sell much out of it. And I think I do have another small box, small 600 count box to fill up, to put some more in for the next show that I do, which I don't even know when the next show I will do. How many people took advantage of the fill a box versus just a stack of singles? So typically, and you may see the signs, they may look a little different. I started this in a few weeks ago at the Green Bay Card Show because I wanted to recoup my money because I had a lot of overhead expenses going to Green Bay, spending the night, gas, and all that. So I created dollar boxes for the Green Bay Card Show, and I just brought them to Rockford to see how they would fare. And one of my regular customers really likes the quarter boxes, so he was a little disappointed, but he still bought about a box full. And so he's like, "Would you do 2 for $1?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do that." So then I gave me an idea. It's like, you know what? Let's just do 2 for $1. So I all cards were 50 cents. So I don't know if that's something I'll do moving forward or if I'm just going to bring back the quarter boxes because I still have a bunch that, I haven't brought to a show in a while and do quarter boxes again. I don't know. I think it does need freshened up because a lot of the inventory, my dollar boxes I've been bringing. I did add quite a bit this week, a lot of football and basketball color parallels from Prism and Mosaic. So those always move well. The color parallels always move well. So how many people took advantage? Not as many as the quarter boxes, but I think I sold 2 or 3, which is, kind of on average of the fill a box. I'd say 3 or 4 is probably the average, somewhere in there. 3.5 is probably the average, per card show, and it was probably a little under that, maybe 3. Cliff, good morning to you. If you're allowed to put links in the chat, Jenny, can you link your store? Absolutely. Jenny linked it up down there. Ed is with us. Good morning. David, good morning to you. Who else do we have in the chat? There is Jenny's eBay store link. Victor, what is up? Zach, good morning. George did not have a good weekend. You weren't on YouTube. Well, thank you for that. And I'm sorry you had a crappy weekend. Dan is with us. What is up, Dan? Herman, good morning. Back to real life today. I know I had back-to-back fun weekends, fun days, card show / birthday party, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to a somewhat normal weekend coming up. Zach says, Herman, your chickens have come home to roost. Speaking of that, we were at the party last Saturday night, and this was late in the night, so I can't remember what exactly we were talking about, but chickens. One of the guys who was there has chickens on his farm, and so we got to talking about chickens, and I immediately thought of Herman. It's like, we're talking chickens. Chickens are following me everywhere in the card community, on YouTube videos, and now here sitting on the patio having a beer at a birthday party talking about chickens. Herman also texted me on Saturday and showed me a shelf full of Bowman U football cards, and I'm really high on that product, looking forward to college football season. So on the way home Sunday morning, I made a stop. It used to be my honey hole Walmart back before the pandemic. It was in Harvard, Illinois, and I never shared where it was, but it was in Harvard, Illinois. And it was always, and I was getting 2018 Topps update on clearance. Can you imagine that? $12 blasters for 18 update. And they basically had everything you were looking for. Harvard, Illinois. Then the pandemic hit and everybody went to every Walmart, and those kind of hole in the wall honey holes for cards no longer exist. So I did stop in Harvard on the way home, and they had a big selection of cards. And they had a whole bunch, about a dozen blasters of Bowman U. So I grabbed 5, and I'll probably open one, maybe this weekend, and set the other 4 on a shelf and wait till football season. Cooter, what is up? Good morning to you. Dan says he found out I broke my pinky toe. Got a boot on today. That sucks. That's always the worst, the pinky toe. Paige and Dina Bean, good morning to you. Straight Execution, what is up? Jenny says, I want to challenge Bo to list 1,000 cards on eBay this week. What teams should we ask him to list? I will probably not get any listed today because I have over 200 items to ship. By the way, my eBay store, typically, and this was all anecdotal, until I look back at the numbers, it's like every time I'm at a card show, it seems like that day's sales on eBay suck. And then I look back, and it was just every Saturday. My Saturday sales just always suck. Until this weekend, basically back to Wednesday through Sunday, my eBay sales have been on fire comparatively to the last, probably 2 months. I had the best weekend in sales, Friday, Saturday, Sunday sales in several months, probably dating back to, I'll have to look at the numbers. I'm sure there was a weekend somewhere in January or February, but I mean, several, at least in the last 2 to 3 months. Great weekend on eBay. So I'll accept that challenge, but I'll have to get started tomorrow. I'll probably list a few cards on the couch, but I won't do any bulk listings likely today. Let's see. Victor says, looking forward to the hot, humid weather coming in. I know. I saw we're supposed to get some really bad storms later today, which I want the rain because that means I don't have to go out and water, and I'll be stuck down here shipping all day. But at the same time, I don't want severe weather where it's going to blow my plants over and ruin my garden. So it's kind of I need a balance. TD Sports Cards, happy Monday. Good morning to you. Cliff says, least it wasn't Guinness. Oh my God, I'd still be hungover if it was Guinness. Let's see. John says, I'm near Harvard right now. We have massive humidity and heat coming as well. Yeah, in fact, my it's funny. I love the little weather toolbar thing I have on my computer because it went from and right now it says 58 degrees and sunny, but then it says like I can't even remember what it said. It said like blazing, not blazing, but it just said like hot weather incoming or something, and it's like it's 58 degrees. So I think we've got a storm today, and then tomorrow is when our heat wave comes in. And I've seen like 110 degree heat index and all that. Let's see. Herman says apparently the card shop down there aren't buying up all the blasters. No, apparently not, because they're readily available. They are readily available. Cliff says heat index of 115 coming to Tennessee. So it's like a nationwide heat wave because we're going to have similar. I don't think it's going to get that warm up here. My car thermometer read 110 yesterday. Holy cow. So that heat wave is coming east for Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois. So, there it is. My weather change. Upcoming alert. And it's got a little temperature gauge. The weirdest thing happened to me on eBay. Sold a card Friday and shipped it. Same card just sold overnight. I don't know how that happened. I've had a few people mention that it's happened to them, and I don't know how that happens. Possibly an auction. I think the one person that mentioned it to me a while back, it was an auction, and somehow it just kept relisting, and I don't know what happened, but I think it was. I don't know if the card that you sold had ever been at auction. At like any time in the past few months or whatever. But I have heard of that coming. Now, I like misplaced cards, and usually when I misplace cards is because I put them in the wrong tab. Like Cooter ordered some cards from me, ordered a Mauricio Dubon card, and it's like, I'm sorry, I misplaced it. I know it's around here. And it was, so I put it in his next shipment. But every once in a while, it's like I'll go through and it's like, where in the hell is this card? And I think I mentioned this last week. I have about half of the football cards with players with the last name L because I alphabetize football and basketball. I have no idea where they're at. And I've sold like 4 cards and I've had to refund all of them because they're not in the L. And I've looked in every football tab, and the L's, I'm taking a big L. Kyle Long, David Lee, a 1973 Topps card. There was like 2 others, and it seemed like all in a row. And it's like, it's weird how that, like, I discover like, hey, I'm missing this card, and then all of a sudden 2 more sales pop up, last name L, and now I can't find it. I have no idea, no clue. And I know when it happened, like when I misplaced them, it was when I had them all and I was sorting before I went to change my cataloging system. So I went and I resorted, or not resorted, but I sorted the stacks of cards I have. So no clue. And what sucks is like to go through 12,500 listings looking for football and cross-checking. It's like, I'm just going to take it on the chin, and hopefully the cards that are missing are all, accounted for and off the store. I don't know. John says not one Carl Yastrzemski card in Bo's expanded new store, 0. Most of them have sold. I had a bunch at one time. Like I had a ton of early 80s Yaz cards. Like 80, 81, 82. And they've all sold. They get scooped up fast. Let's see. Cooter says, I'm flying to Minnesota today. I'm hoping to escape the southern heat for a couple days. John says, I have about 60 listings and each sale is search and desperation for the card that's sold. And Dan has his airfare purchased for the U.S. vacation. Let's talk about airfare, gas prices. Holy cow. we are starting to see an effect in the hobby. We are definitely starting to see an effect in the hobby with the rise in just everything. I went to the grocery store last week and I couldn't believe. Normally, when you go to the grocery store and there's a price increase, it's not really noticeable. If it goes from like $1.99 to 2.09 for whatever product, it's you don't notice it. But when it goes from $1.99 to 3.79 or something like that, it's like, holy crap. Um, John says, let's just be happy for BP and Exxon. Don't be negative. Right. Somebody's winning in all this. And I don't think it's any of us. But it's starting to affect. Now, I'm gonna be a realist here, and I'm not gonna paint the picture of doom and gloom. The hobby, oh my God, the hobby is gonna die in the next few months because of inflation and gas prices. But I'm also not gonna say it's the hobby's thriving. Look at the shelves. People are still buying in my eBay store. We're somewhere in the middle. Now, but we are starting to see effects. We're seeing a decline in sales overall. We're starting to see a decline in attendance at card shows. We're seeing late cancellations for dealers at card shows is becoming more and more. And I think a lot of that has to do with gas prices. I went to Milwaukee on Thursday to that rummage sale, and I calculate $40 it took. And I don't have a big truck or a gas guzzling SUV. I have an SUV, but it's a smaller. It gets, I think my average on that trip was 26 miles to the gallon, which is low, but it's not too bad. And so it cost me $40 just for that one quick hour and a half, one-way trip, 3-hour round trip. And so now it's like, you're driving 3-4 hours. I have some dealers that come in from Minnesota, Chicago, a few dealers in Iowa. And so you start doing, it's like, I'm starting to get a little worried, moving forward if gas prices continue to rise. Like when's the point that a lot of my out of town dealers, say, hey, I can't make it work anymore. And so that's a real concern. However, on the bright side, there was a new dealer at the Rockford show Saturday next to me. Great guy. His name's Sam. And he came in from Michigan. So he drove all the way in from I can't remember what city, but on the Michigan side, Lake Michigan side, near the border. But still, that's a significant drive, from southern, southwest Michigan to northern Illinois. So there are, people are still willing to, but whereas 3-4 months ago, it's like, hey, we've got vendors coming in from all over the place, because gas wasn't $5 to $6 a gallon. It was around my buddy's house in Crystal Lake, Illinois area. Gas was $5.80 a gallon. So it's still the more north I drove, the less and less gas prices were. And around here, I think they're still under. I think here in Madison, we're still under $5. I think I know the last time I gassed up, it was like $4.69 before I left for the trip to Illinois. I think it was $4.69, maybe $4.79. But I in Milwaukee, it was $5.19. It was, quite a bit higher in Milwaukee than it was in Madison. So I'm sure by today it's above $5. Cliff, where are you at? Cliff, it's $4.59 where he's at. Let's see. So I'm gonna go to the chat real quick. Yep, we all need to worry about diesel costs. Gas prices might not affect us for commute, but diesel will affect all of us at the grocery store. Oh, most definitely. I'm gonna check in with some of my old coworkers because I worked in transportation and in trucking. So I'm curious what the effects are, on domestic truck travel, because I'm sure it's diesel should never be higher than gas, but it is. Seems like it's more of a buyer's market lately. Definitely agree. I'm going to get into that with the Northern Illinois Card Show this past weekend, because I did get some good deals. both for the PC and for resale. Jenny says, how many are going to commute as dealers to your June 25th show on John Nolan Drive? Take a drink. Coffee time. Let's see. I'm going to, because I can't really spitball, and I haven't confirmed with a bunch. The next couple days I've got to start confirming. So I've got a Green Bay, so that's a 2.5 hour drive. I've got let's see, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. That's that's like a 3-hour drive. Got another Green Bay. Let's see, he is from a couple guys from like the Sterling area, which is a solid 2 hours. Schaumburg, which is a solid 2 hours, a little over 2 hours with some tolls added in. Let's see. I'm not sure where he's from. I think that's a Green Bay. Couple new. Actually, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 or 6 new dealers already. Another Iowa. I think he's Cedar Rapids area. Sean's coming in from Kansas. However, there's a caveat. He's working in the area. So he's driving in from where he's working. So there's still quite a few of my some regular dealers, and I'll have to find out some of the first timers where they're coming in from. So the June 25th show, the June 25th Madison Card Show, will still have some dealers driving in. And I think that's going to continue. I think the dealers that they like, for me, for what my inventory is at a card show, am I going to drive 3 hours because I only make a few $100 selling quarter cards or dollar cards? So I have to spend, $50 or $60 in gas, and 60, 70, 80, $100 on tables, really cuts into your profits. And at that point, it really comes. And I say it's not about the money. I don't want to lose money when I set up at a card show, because I also use it as networking, meeting other dealers, not only to recruit to my card shows, but also to, hey, if you're selling bulk, I might be interested in buying. So let's see. Interesting. You had the busiest weekend in a long time. I think people going back to buying online. Hey, that's a great point. I didn't even, in speaking about that, that's a great point. Maybe because we are seeing a decline in attendance at card shows, and that's no secret. I saw it last month at my show. We've seen it the last couple months in Rockford. The Green Bay card show that I was at a few weeks ago, I can't really give you a good perspective because it was the very first show that they promoted. And I think for a first-time show, it was a really good attendance. So, but it was down comparatively. I think if they would have had that show in January, it would have been, well, depending on the weekend in Green Bay, Wisconsin in January, I think it would have been significantly higher attended. So we are seeing, declining customer traffic across the board at all. And I think all shows, I think if you ask anybody from around the country, I think that's kind of what we're seeing. So that could be a great point. People, save money, especially when they're bargain cards, like out of Jenny's store and my eBay store. Buy a couple cards for $1.50, get those bulk discounts if you buy more. Totally agree with that. Let's see. George says, where am I at? I skipped ahead too much. Let's see. George says, we haven't had gas under $5 a gallon in all my years in Korea. Cliff is in Knoxville. Okay. Nisswa is an amazing city. I love the little small town shops. TD, it was $4.89 down here in the Southwest Florida. George says, I always laugh when folks at home talk about those gas prices. The continued rising price of essentials is cutting into everyone's spending. Absolutely. Not just gas. It's at the grocery store as well. Let's see. Victor says $6 in Chicago. I'm taking a drink of MGD for George. Curious, George. I loved Curious George as a kid. What's your cost of living wages average over there to compare about gas prices you have? George says wages used to be okay. They aren't anymore. I was making more 5 years ago than I am now when you factor in a multitude of things. That's interesting. Let's see. Randy, what is up? Randy's with us. Gas is $5.29 here in Champaign. Instead of investing in cardboard, I should be investing in gas. Going to be fun going to the Midwest Monster at Fisher's this weekend. Speaking of that, I am shocked that there's two large Midwest card shows on the same weekend, the Midwest Monster in Fishers, Indiana on Saturday, and the Chicago Sports Spectacular decided to throw in a third show this year, and they're doing one this weekend as well. I think the Spectacular is going to suck. I think the Chicago Spectacular, it's only, and I say only, a lot of the regional shows are now 200 tables. The Spectacular used to be a large, and I think up to 400 tables typically in March and November at those shows. I think their show's going to suck. Now it is a big autograph show. It's kind of tailored to the autograph guests. There are some big names signing, not as big as like last November had. And that's why the line was an hour to get in, was because of the autograph guests last November. They had some monster names. But I think the Midwest Monster and Fishers is going to be the show this weekend in the Midwest. And I think the Spectacular is going to be pretty weak. I have zero interest in driving 2.5 hours to Rosemont, spending $50-$60 in gas, $12 to get in, $15 to park, to see vendors that I can see at a free show. So not interested in the Chicago Sports Spectacular. And they really gave me a sour taste in my mouth at their show last November with how poorly planned it was with entrance. So just not interested whatsoever. Let's see, where are we at? George says, so basically I've been taking a pay cut every year for the last 5 years, and I'm actually getting a pay cut this August, so I don't know how much longer I'll be in this. That sucks. George, come back here. Come back to the States. Cliff says it's time for mopeds. I invested in my e-bike at a great time last year. And I haven't even rode it this year. It's June 13th. And that was a big investment. And I did get a lot of miles in last year, but I've just been, with, doing cards full time, I'd like to get it out, but it's, I would say it's, well, the weather. And we did have a bad spring. We had cold weather, rainy weather. Going to get storms today. Going to be super hot this week. So we'll see. I'll get on the bike and ride eventually. Let's see. Conversion rate for the starting salary of some persons in my job is only about $1,600 per month. John says, sadly, people will be more desperate to strike it rich on one card. Ed says, going to be interesting how the National is affected. That is, I am curious. And I know a lot of people already have their traveling booked, which is a good thing. And if for those that are flying in that have already booked, it's good because you're likely not, gas is not really, if you take the train or whatever, that's not affecting it too much. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I have not officially made my decision on National 2022. I haven't officially made it, but I basically have made it. So I'll share that in a video. Thanks to Dan DR for saying, hey, you should make the announcement on a video. So I will do a video likely later this week on my decision on whether or not I'm going to go to the National this year. Let's see. John says traffic hasn't let up. That's something we talked about, and this was basically the economy was the topic du jour on Saturday and Saturday night at the birthday party, and at the party we were talking about that, and it's like, a lot of people drove in to my friend's birthday party. I came in from Wisconsin. His parents came up from the Quad Cities area. Some other people came in from the city, and it's like you're on the interstate and there's just traffic on the interstate and the highways, coming back on Sunday to Wisconsin. that southbound lane of the interstate, that Dells traffic going back to Illinois was just as busy, maybe a tick lower than what it would have been, last year or pre-pandemic, but it was still, a lot of traffic coming back down. Let's see. Jenny says, are you doing a show this week on what your national plan is? Oh, Jenny actually beat me to it. Probably asked that question before I even mentioned it. Yes. So later this week I will do it. And I haven't looked at, plane ticket prices. That's I've just been monitoring that. I haven't looked in about a week. So we'll see what those are. Where we at? John says it's been a dump since Nucky Thompson stepped down. Medium rare cards. What is up? Good morning to you. Bo has never liked the Chicago Spectacular. Not true. I used to love the Chicago Sports Spectacular. I didn't start disliking the show until November. I was a huge fan. I mean, for the November show, I was so excited because I hadn't gone to the Chicago Sports Spectacular since pre-pandemic. I was a little sour on how they handled, because they had the show scheduled in March of 2020, right when the world was shutting down. It was actually when all of the restrictions started going into place. They were full bore, we're doing this despite, despite being health conscious. They were stubborn and decided, and a lot of dealers had already made their trip and they were already there. And the show got shut down by the governor. You can't have large gatherings. And so they had to cancel it the night before it actually began. So basically all the vendors were already there. I think that's a real shitty thing for their planners. And I think it says a lot about how their planning goes. That left a really bad taste in my mouth. Then their planning at the November show sucked ass. And screw that. This is a terrible way to run a show. It was just bad. It was bad planning. Hopefully they've made changes. But what sucks is they made those decisions in March of 2020, and then they come out of the gates. I don't know. I don't know if they had a show before November of last year, but then they pull that crap on in November, and it's I really don't want to go back. I'm not interested. So I was a big fan before, but those two shows, shined a light on a lot of bad things, and so not interested. So that's my thoughts on the Spectacular. Let's see. Randy says attendance was off the charts at Chipshawana last month. Has to be close to a couple thousand people there. Rumor has it that dealers are blowing off Rosemont and doing Fishers. That was the word on Saturday with a couple dealers that I talked to, that they're skipping Chicago and doing the Indiana show. So that, and I think that says a lot. If regulars, so what, I'm turned off by how, as a customer, by the Spectacular and how it's run. If you're having regular dealers who set up at a show and they're going to skip your event to do another show, what's that say about how you're running a show? How about them Cubbies yesterday? Let's not talk about the Cubs. That was terrible. Where on this dial did the Spectacular touch you? Says you can't ride your e-bike because you can't fit bulk boxes of cards on it. I do have saddlebags, though. I can fit some cards. I actually thought about doing a road trip, bike trip to the card shop down in Stoughton, because it's a good ride. I don't know if it's a safe ride, though. I don't know if there's a bike path or if it's very bike friendly, because I am concerned about that. We actually just had somebody killed on a bike last week. It was on actually Mineral Point Road that's just outside of my house, which is one of the, I said artery last time, and I think John corrected me, vein or whatever. I don't know, whatever. It's one of the main veins to get into Madison. So Yeah, so I'm always careful about that. Going to watch it later today. Just wanted to pop in, hit the like button. Thank you very much. Dan is still waiting on that balls to the wall episode. I do need to do that because I need to do some switching around. I took some video of my space a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. But I need to switch out some of the baseballs because some of the prospects are no longer prospects. I have a tub of 300 signed baseballs that are just in storage that I need to replace. So um, it's definitely not a priority right now. But at some point, and I hate to say this, I hate to do this to you, Dan, but it may not happen until the winter when there's a little more time on my hands. Baseball collector is with us. What's up, Mike? Let's see. Randy says, I missed the Wisconsin Dell show. My buddy Grant put that show on. It was great. I agree. The Dell show was top notch, well planned, great attendance. Well, I mean, all shows at that time was great attendance, but it was a well-oiled machine. And I think I commented, I don't know if I did a blog post on it, probably not. I don't think I was doing many blogs at that time. I think I was doing this video series though. I think that's what I was most impressed with was how well run it was, the May show, especially for being the first time. And if you were at the Dell show, it's almost like they had been doing this show in this location for 20 years. I respect that more now running my own show because at that time I hadn't done a show yet. I don't think, or when was that last year? Shoot. Yes, I probably had done one show. I did. I had the April show, and then the May show was like a week later after the Dells. So yeah, so I had a lot more respect after building my show because I think my first show I had 17 tables at my first show. So that first show in April, then going to the Dells show, I didn't really know until I built my show up to over 100 tables, and now it's like I know what goes into it, and so to pull that show off, being the first time, very impressive. Zach says Bo ain't going to the National. Where are we at here? Let's see. Where would you fly out of for the National? So, Mike, I would fly out of Madison. I mean, I have a few options. My main option would be Madison to Philadelphia. And we do have direct flights out of Madison. Now we only have like one direct flight a day, but it's a decent time. I think it's like a 1 or a 2 p.m. flight, so it's not terrible, or maybe noon, because I think I would land at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So I would miss, like if I flew out on Wednesday, I would miss basically that first night at the National. Or I could fly out of Milwaukee or O'Hare. Once, and especially now with higher gas prices, taking that into consideration, it's basically a wash. And my direct flight out of Madison is going to end up being probably the most cost efficient way to do it. Trade night in Rock Hill, South Carolina was on fire. Direct flights to Madison to Philadelphia, absolutely. I love me some direct flights. Johnny Boy Cards, good morning to you. Just fold the cards up and shove them in your pocket. Poor analogy, but the National is like Vegas, where others are just fine going to a local casino instead of making the trip an investment. Certainly not the same experience, but cost effective. I think so. Yeah, there is a Vegas mystique. I'm not into game. So Vegas is fun, but I don't play slots. I don't do roulette. I don't play poker. So to me, it's more of just it's Vegas. So I really don't have much interest in Vegas. Now, if the National was in Vegas, I would have, because, well, flights to Vegas are like super cheap. Even now, it's all relative, but I would definitely do, where Atlantic City, it's like Vegas is like, yes, I'm going. Atlantic City, it's like, well, Atlantic City's kind of a dump. It's not easy to get to, and that's why I'm on the fence. Vegas, I'd be like, yep, I'm going. So I agree though. For me, it's like, yeah, Vegas is Vegas. I've been there, done that. But if there were, See, Dan, that's what I thought, arteries. But somebody I think it was John that corrected me that it's not it shouldn't be an artery, it should be a vein. So that's why I said vein, the main vein. Let's see. Jenny says, is the Dell show closer to Minnesota than the Madison show or further? So the Dells is closer to Minnesota. Wisconsin Dells is about 45 minutes from Madison. Basically for somebody coming down from Minnesota, Dells is 45 minutes closer than Madison. Unfortunately, there is no longer a Wisconsin Dells show. There was some, I think there was, I've heard various, like, it's kind of, there's been various reports, and one person that I know, his wife, it's a lot of, like, I think it's a game of telephone. One person's wife works at the place where it was at, and they said that it was this, and I've heard it was scheduling conflict. I've heard they raised the prices and it was like double, which that doesn't surprise me one bit because it was still coming off COVID when they held the shows last year. And I'm sure they were able to get a decent price on the second show last year, booking in advance. So no more Dell show, at least this year, at this moment in time. And that could change. I don't know if they're still looking into it, but not going to happen, which is unfortunate because it was a great show. Jenny says, oh man, if the National was in Vegas, y'all would be like some backyard breakers ripping shirts off after putting back a few drinks saying John Nolan Drive. Let's not do Vegas National. Mike says 580 on American Airlines right now. Zach says, really, the Dell show is no more. So then Madison may be the biggest show in the state. Congrats. Thank you. Around 120 tables. The Oak Creek show is about 120 tables as well. So yeah, between Madison and Oak Creek, the two largest shows here in Wisconsin, especially, I mean, definitely the largest, one of the largest monthly shows between Madison and Oak Creek. A lot of people are not going to the National because of gas, airfare, hotels, food costs, opting for local shows because local shows are getting bigger. Northern Illinois Card Show, Rockford, this past Saturday. So attendance, and like I alluded to, attendance was, it was down, but it wasn't, I don't suspect it was down much from last month. I think it was very similar to the May attendance. I actually was fairly busy. I had the dollar boxes, which I ended up just marking off and doing 2 for $1. I was pretty busy throughout the day. It was a bonus show for me. Like I did the show just to network and buy, which I don't often do. But this was a show where it was kind of a not last minute, but within the week, once my wife realized that she had some out of town buyers to show, and she wouldn't be able to make the trip to my friend's party. It's like, well, I'll either sit in my basement and ship, or I'll, take the day, sell some cards, get some buying opportunities, and have the opportunity to see my friends, network with new dealers and all that good stuff. And so that was a success. Met Sam, who was set up next to me from Michigan, great guy. Was able to, talk with some other dealers that I see on a regular basis. And I was able to buy. Tom has some awesome stuff. So Tom has a bunch of junk wax Cubs. And so we had talked about it last month. And so I'm like, well, it depends. Like, I'm a buyer, but I'm not going to spend like a nickel a card or a dime a card on 88 Donruss. But if I can get a good price on it, I'll buy. So he brought this storage tub, and I took a picture of it, and I tweeted it out over the weekend, and it was filled with he had a 4 or 5 row box filled with 88 Donruss complete team sets of the Cubs. So I think 96 of those, 96 team sets from 88 Donruss, 48 team sets from 87 Tops. There's probably 2,000 or 3,000 Damon Berryhill cards between 88 Donruss and 89 Tops in boxes, and then some 89 Upper Deck. about 10,000 Cubs cards. And he's like, I'll do $100 on it. That's a penny a card. Let's do it. So is that a penny a card? I think, yeah, that's a penny a card, right? Anyway, then I got these autographs, and they're like 5x7 photos. And he's like, and I've got this 8x10 Fergie Jenkins sign. Here's a Ron Santo. And I'm like, I don't want those guys. I want Larry Rothschild and Corey Patterson and Bobby Hill and Bob Brenly and Chip Carey. So I pulled out some of those obscure ones. I've got Fergie. He signs all the time. I've got a couple Ron Santo autographs. I've got a Ron Santo. Is it a rookie? I think it's a rookie, autograph rookie card. And he's like, yeah, I'll do $3. And I think he gave me $1. I think I got 7 of those for $20 or maybe even 8 of those guys. Pat Hughes. I pulled a Pat Hughes, Larry Rothschild, Chip Carey, Bob Brenly, Corey Patterson, Bobby Hill, and I think there were a couple others. So all in, it was $120 for about 8 signed 5x7 photos and about 10,000 Cubs cards. So that was my buy. And at that point in time, I think I had sold 100. I think it was $119 in sales at that point, and I spent $120 there. So I'm like, hey, I'm good. I made some more sales. Let's do some more buying. So let's go back to the chat real quick before I go to my second buy, because I'll actually do a separate video on my, and this is a steal of a deal. You guys are going to be drooling when I share what I bought at the end of the show. If you like bargain box deals. So, but I'm going to do a separate video. I'll tease it here, but I'm going to do a separate video. Rumor has it the descendants of John Nolan gave the Dell Show an offer they couldn't refuse. Poof, they gone. Let's see. I will tell you the real reason the Dell Show is no more. It is because the space they used for the show was available because a longtime user of that space was not able to use it in May. Okay, so that kind of falls in line with the scheduling conflict. Now, I heard one of the reasons was the only weekend it was available was one of the promoters had like a family vacation or something, and so it was already planned. So that's one thing I heard, but scheduling conflict had come up. What percentage of dealers do you think are on Twitter? Not many. Many are on Instagram. A lot of them are on Instagram. I do know several have joined Twitter just because I'm like, here's on Twitter. So then they look on Twitter and they see all the action on Twitter. So they join. So I've had a few join Twitter just because of the Madison Card Show pictures and videos. So that's cool. And it gets me some new followers. So I'd say a small percentage on Twitter, but a significant amount on Instagram. Instagram's kind of the, in Instagram, and that's where like, younger dealers, like, I'm on Instagram, but I'm not very active on Instagram. I'm very active on Twitter. Let's see. Shaw says Mark Grace rated rookies. Yeah, so like 96 of them. Let's see. Where are we at here? Cliff says then that's not enough beer to John. Grace rated rookie is money. I'm a Sox fan, but still have the 88 score traded in my wait list. Love that era. The 88 score, man, that was like a $25 card at one point. I remember a good friend was a huge Mark Grace fan back in the day, and I think he paid like $15 for that card. And that was like an absurd amount of money because I was like 8 years old. That was like 2 months of allowance for me. Card Hobbyist, what is up? Chip Carey yells very loudly when a Brave hits a homer. When Bo says Bobby Hill, it makes me think of Bobby's World. Y'all remember that 90s show? I loved Bobby's World, or more so Bobby Hill from King of the Hill. That boy ain't right. Zach, I think I have that card up in my shop. Maybe I'll have to look. Zach loved Bobby's World. Yep, Howie Mandel. That was a great show. Don't you know Bobby? What car does John Nolan drive? Good morning to you. Bo sent you a message on IG. When you quit your job and went full-time into cards, eBay, what did you do for health insurance for your family? That's a great question. I'm terrible on Instagram, so that's probably why I haven't responded. That was like the number one thing kind of slowing me down. And from really switching jobs or going out full time. My wife's in real estate, so she's self-employed. So she was on my health insurance through my company, and I had an amazing benefit package with the company I worked for. So that was like the big, like, okay, I can replace the salary, I can replace the 401k match, but it's the health insurance aspect that this is going to be the road block or bump in the road. So we went into it was like a local provider that does, I don't know if it's Obamacare or whatever it is, but it actually ended up being fairly inexpensive. And I can't. It's a local. I think it's like the health insurance store is what it's called. But it was recommended to us by I think my accountant may have passed on their name. But if you could find somebody, at least local, so you can get some service that provides that service. So that's what we did. So yeah, paying out of pocket for health insurance, not ideal, but it's, I think it's everybody's situation. Like, our situation is a little different. No kids. If you have kids, that's going to be a bigger hurdle to jump over. If you have health issues, maybe a bigger hurdle. So, it comes down to like everybody's situation. And fortunately we were in a situation where we can make it work. The health insurance store, Bo, are you sure you actually have insurance? It's legit. I know it sounds hokey, but it's legit. And I think that's exactly what it's like, the health insurance. I think that's what it's actually called. But yes, it is legit. It is legit. And it actually works. I can confirm it actually does work. The insurance does work. There's some good health insurance out there to find. Lots of people's careers are, say, fast food or Walmart, don't get insurance through there. So the world has created some good programs. I don't want to get into this because it can skew political, but since we're talking health insurance, I know that a lot of talk is like, well, Canada has free health care. One of the couples that was at the party on Saturday night, his wife, my friend's wife is from Canada, and learned a lot about the healthcare in Canada, and it's not all it's cracked up to be. And it actually sounds a lot worse than the private healthcare in the United States. So it was a really eye-opening conversation. I don't want to get into it any more than that, but it was very eye-opening. Let's get back to the Northern Illinois Card Show. So attendance was, I think it was steady. I'm not political. They all mess up things. I agree with that. So attendance was, I think it was, it was steady. It was down for sure. It's June, to be expected. But I made some good sales. Again, I was there. My focus was more on networking and buying. So I made the Cubs buy from Tom. The Graffinino guys were there. And we got to talking. They actually own like a screen printing company. And I've been doing, like, when I print my business cards, when I make a t-shirt every once in a while, I just go on like Vistaprint, and I hate doing that. I want to do local. But I don't know anybody until now. And so I'm like, we got to do something. So I've got his card, and let's just give him a plug here on the show. Howard Custom Transfers. So there's his card. Howard Custom Transfers. So looks like they're on they're on Twitter, Custom Howard, Instagram, Howard_custom. So I'm gonna reach out. I want to do some things. So that's what it's all about. Like, and it's stuff that you don't even think about, like screen printing, like promoting a card show. Like, hey, we can do business. This is perfect. And it's something that I have a local print shop, but I don't have like a personal relationship with anybody. It's just, well, you're local. And the last time I got a quote from them, it was ridiculous. And it's like, I want to, even if the price is high, I'd rather spend more with somebody that I know and like than just a random local company because it's local, or do it online with Vistaprint. So that's awesome that I was able to make that connection. And I keep forgetting these cards. It's like I got Shane Leckler cards for the Leckler collector. I've got Graffinino cards, only 4 of them. I got to keep looking. So hopefully we can catch up soon. Jenny says, agreed. To see anything in good or bad, you have to research the entire thing and talk to those that do it firsthand. Selling in volume on eBay, for example, sounds great. It is a grind. Yes, it is. Any t-shirt must have a map of John Nolan Drive on the back. That's a great idea. That is a great idea. I like that. It's really too bad we can't change the name to John Nolan Drive Card Show. Need a Bone Nose Cards shirt. So my second purchase, the end of the show. So there was a dealer right across from me. And I made 3 purchases. I made a small purchase with him earlier in the show. I was digging through like some dollar boxes, and he had some really good stuff. So I was looking at the dollar boxes. I pulled a Dylan Cease blue numbered to 150 Cubs uniform. Wasn't a first, it was like 2016, I think, Bowman. Pulled like a Rizzo numbered card, numbered to 99. Excuse me, Jake Arrieta. Javi Baez Throwback Thursday. Excuse me again. And then there was so I had 5 Cubs cards, and then I found a Riley Green first Bowman paper. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to throw this in. I'm like, hey, will you do 6 for $5? And he's like, oh yeah, for sure. So, I'll put the Riley Green just to recoup some of those funds that the $5 that I spent on Cubs cards. But I was looking through, and he had some autos, $2 autos. And I'm talking like first Bowman Chrome autos. Yeah, of like, non-prospects basically. But a bunch of autos, some relics, some rookie cards. And I'm like, hey, I wonder how much of a bulk deal, if I could get these down to $1 a card. So at the very end of the show, I figured at the end of the show, he's more likely to do a deal. So I started going through stuff, and there were probably 50 cards, that I knew like right away, like I could pull 50 out. But it's like, is 40 or 50 going to pull enough in? Is that going to do it? So I looked, and it's like, I bet I could get 100. So I told him, I said, if I bought 100 cards, would you do them for $1 a card, $100? And he's thinking, he's like, yeah, why not? And I think I got that deal because it was the end of, like, it was literally half the show was already packed up, and there were still some customers walking around. So I think that's what helped seal the deal. It was the end of the show, and he's like, yeah, $100 at the very end of the show. Absolutely. Let's do it. So I was able to pull 100 cards out, autographs, like a ton of autos, $1 a piece. You'll be impressed with this 100 card lot. So I wanted to do that because it's like, I spent $125 basically on Cubs cards. I need to recoup some of it, even though I made sales to cover that, but let's try to make it a profitable day. Right. And I found out also follow-up to the Ronald Acuna super short print. So I walked up to the dealer, and he just, because this is the first time I've seen him since I pulled that card out of his quarter box, and he just goes, there you are, money bags. So he got to talking. He's like, I had no idea. He's like, I saw it was an Acuna rookie gold cup, and I'm like, yeah, that's, it's probably a couple $1 card. And like, that's literally what I thought. Like, it might be a short print $10 card. If not, it's a $2 or $3 card. I'll make $1 or $2. And so he got to saying, he goes, you know where I actually, that was part of a bulk buy that I bought from the dealer next to him, who owns a card shop, and he missed it. Basically, three dealers missed. I had no idea. I mean, I would have looked it up and found out. But I didn't know when I pulled it out that it was that expensive of a card. I didn't realize it until I just splayed it out with the rest of the quarter cards I bought. And somebody said, hey, this is can you pick out the $400 card? And I knew it wasn't a random leaf auto of a football player, which was, about half of the cards I bought in that deal. So three dealers missed it, had no idea. And Steve is his name. And Steve goes, he goes, I didn't even know opening day had super short prints. And even if I did know opening day had super short prints, I had no idea they sell for that much. And Jory, the other guy that he owns a card shop, and he's like, it was just opening day. I had no clue. So I just, it's crazy. So when you're looking through bargain boxes, not everybody knows every single card. And that's like me with soccer. Like my soccer box, it's in the photo of the thumbnail. There could be, because I know that there has been image variations in the bulk that I buy or that I have acquired, in especially the Goodwill. Like the last Goodwill lot, there was a Caden Clark, I think is the kid's name, rookie card. And I had no idea it was a variation until I looked on the back, and it's like, well, this has the same number as this card, but it's a different picture. It's a $50 card, and it was in a Goodwill lot. And the only reason I stuck it aside was because it was a rookie and I'd actually heard of that soccer player. So there could be other image variations in the soccer cards, and I tell people that. I'm like, the chances are there's not going to be much in there, but there very well could be, because I don't know the first thing about soccer. So that's how it all is. Let's see. Herman is getting a little excited about my collection. Oh, do tell. Herman, are you going live tonight? Let us know if you're going live. Cliff says, I can keep up and look to see what I found, but you guys buy loads more than I do. I can see why stuff is missed. And that's what we got to talking about, where, I think it was the second Goodwill pallet that I bought. Was it, may not even been good. No. It was in November. I bought a bulk collection, and I got tired of comping the cards because there was so many. And I just I'm throwing these in my quarter box. That's where the Klay Thompson rookie, at the time it was a $50 card, and somebody got it out of my quarter box for a quarter, probably 20 cents. And he came up to me, and he's like, I don't know if you wanted to know. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And that's what Steve and I were talking about. He's like, man, it sucks, but hey, it happens. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably happened to every dealer that does bargain boxes. They've let one slide that normally they would have pulled and, sold in the showcase or on eBay or whatever. So things get missed. But that's, it's the fun. Now, you don't want to be the guy that puts that card in there, but it makes for a great story. So it's fun. Let's see. Jenny says, we all miss cards. You missed that one basketball rookie. Yep. Klay Thompson. Herman says they are going live tonight, 7 p.m. Central. Check out Herman and Kin going live tonight, 7 o'clock on 3B Collections channel. Cliff says it's time for an intern. It would be nice just to have sort cards. That would be the one. That would be the. My wife and I are not going to have. We chose not to have kids, but that's man, it would be nice. Maybe I'll. Is there a neighbor kid? Actually, kid across the street just graduated high school. Maybe he wants to get into cards and can sort for me. So yeah, maybe it is time. I made the decision. Part of the business plan when I made the transition was not going to make any major changes unless absolutely necessary until the 1 year mark. And then as I get close to that 1 year anniversary, I'll start to, kind of cross check what major changes could I make? Um, and at this point in time where I'm still, let's see, what am I? I'm still 4 months away from that 1 year anniversary. So at this point in time, it's kind of status quo, unfortunately. Um, the market has dipped to the point where I'm still able to handle. Now, if I did have part-time help, obviously I could scale up, but is that going to allow me to scale up to where I, want to be to cover that, salary on top of making some additional profit? So we'll see. But it would be nice to have, at least somebody on hand. So if all of a sudden things the switch flipped and I have somebody already ready to go, plus it would help. I could actually do tables at my card show, have them work a Saturday. Um, that's a good thought. Now that I talk it out loud, it's like maybe I should look into having somebody on hand just to start out. I don't know. We'll see. I'll talk. My wife is way more smarter when it comes to business, so run it by her. What do you think? Let's see. Cliff has 3 kids. I can loan you one. I don't like the new shelf. Can't see the vending box in the background that 8,000 pounds of cards are balanced on, right? Flawed thinker, what is up? Good morning to you. Maybe you could have a person as a seasonal intern. That's a good thought. So I'm going to wrap things up here this morning. So Northern Illinois Card Show, it was great. Made some sales, made some great buys, good networking. Overall, a good show. And don't forget June 25th, Madison Card Show. I haven't done. I need to. I do have several regulars that are out, but I basically what's been great about the shows when I have regulars that miss, or planned. Hey, I can't do this show. I've got like 6 or 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10 first timers that step right in, and I'm already. I think I'm up to 6 or 7 first timers for this June show. So able to replace the ones that are going to miss. So and I do have some tables space available for anybody that's listening or watching. June 25th is the show. Saturday, June 25th, Madison Card Show. Where's it at? It's on John Nolan Drive, Madison, Wisconsin. TDs, thanks for jumping in today. Thanks for chatting. An intern would be a good idea. Part-time employee that runs all card shows, set up to sell for them. Yeah, that's kind of like, oh, that would be nice. I could actually have, have my table set up, my bargain boxes. So, thanks for watching. Back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. Hit the like button if you have not already. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. And we'll chat tomorrow morning.